Who is one of the most glamorous women in the world? Well, obviously the answer is Princess Kate, the Duchess of Cambridge, Canada's future queen. And there's no question why. Look at how classic and gorgeous she looks in every setting. It's great to have a beautiful princess, but not everyone is impressed with how Kate looks. Margaret Atwood thinks that Kate looks uneventful. And her comments, her fashion criticism, landed a big story in the Daily Mail in the UK. Check out the headline: "Why Drab Kate's No Match for Stylish Di" by Margaret Atwood. And look at that picture of Princess Diana, of the Duchess of Cambridge, and Margaret Atwood looking like, I don't know, is that a costume? Was it like Lord of the Rings and she was dressing up as like the Hobbit Queen or something? I normally try not to make too much fun of how people look because, I mean, pot, kettle, that sort of thing. But when you look like Margaret Atwood and dress like Margaret Atwood, sort of like you stuck your finger in an electric socket, when you look like Tracy Ullman in Men in Tights, you know what I'm talking about? Should you really be commenting on how other people look, especially one of the most beautiful women in the world and Canada's princess? There's another layer to this besides just the weirdness of a unusual looking Margaret Atwood criticizing the beautiful looking Kate, and it's this. Margaret Atwood claims to be a feminist who is outraged by people judging others by how they look and how they dress. And yet in this same Daily Mail story, Margaret Atwood confesses that she judges women by how they look. That's not a very enlightened way of being. Let me quote to you from the Daily Mail. She said, I think she's, what do I see? This is quoting Margaret Atwood. What do I see? Your dress. I see your face, of course. I focus on that. I see your earrings. I see your necklace. And those are all part of you. They are all part of the total image of who I've just met. So Margaret Atwood, turbo feminist, says she judges women by how they look. Now, this is ironic because one of her novels turned into a movie was called The Handmaid's Tale, and it was regarded as a feminist cri de coeur, and it was about a theocratic, fascist Christian autocracy where women were just judged on their sexuality, and it was a terrifying dystopian future. Now, the funny thing is Margaret Atwood wrote that in the wake of the Ayatollahs taking over Iran and actually starting a religious theocracy and forcing women to cover up and wear a veil and a burqa. Margaret Atwood lacked the courage to criticize the Ayatollahs in Iran in their own name, so she invented a fake Christian theocracy to complain about instead. That's sort of like Barack Obama when asked about the Islamic State's brutality, saying, well, what about the Crusades 1,000 years ago? It's one step worse than that, though. Check out this Twitter tweet by Margaret Atwood short weeks ago. It was when Stephen Harper said that women should not wear that face mask called the niqab in our public citizenship ceremonies. And this is what Margaret Atwood tweeted to the Prime Minister. She said, most Canadian women are annoyed when politicians dictate their garb while pretending to be pro-woman. PM dress code. You got that? So Margaret Atwood is okay disparaging one of the most beautiful and classy women in the world, a fashion icon who happens to be Canada's princess, even though she calls herself a feminist. But she has no problem condemning Stephen Harper, not for making a fashion statement about niqabs, but for making a statement about the equality of women and the fact that we don't believe in gender apartheid. Margaret Atwood is a hypocrite, but you probably already knew that. For TheRebel.media, I'm Ezra Levant.